When it comes to photography, I try my absolute best not to state anything is an undeniable, undebatable fact, because everybody has their own process, their own things that they enjoy and stuff that they value themselves as well, and that's not always going to align with other people's enjoyments and values. But something I do strongly stand behind is that seeing why a particular image caught somebody's eye and watching how they decided to frame it up and the reasoning behind the framing is far more important and valuable than hearing about the settings behind the image, what camera or lens was used, or whether the photo was focus stacked or anything like that. So with that being said, in today's video, I'm going to show you 20 black and white photos that I shot the other day in about an hour or two at the coast, and I'm going to break down what the initial attraction was to taking that photograph, how I turned that impulse into a composition, and then at the end of the video, we're also going to look at the quote-unquote keepers from those 20 images. Will also define what a keeper means to me when it comes to this collection of work. So it should be no surprise why the first subject of a disheveled old van caught my eye. It's a pretty obvious subject for me, but the fact it's just sitting in the middle of a residential road was really cool. What I tried to do on the first frame was mirror the wall on the left and the shed on the right to create an inner frame. And now if you're thinking, why on earth did you want that modern van in the left of the frame there in the photograph? You'd be absolutely right. I didn't really want it in the image. But by coming over to the left and hiding the entire van behind the wall, it actually then revealed a car on the road behind in this gap right here, which at the time looked even worse to me. So I opted to hide just a part of that van, mainly the front wheel behind the wall, making it, I guess, slightly less distracting. To say I didn't have much choice, I don't mind this, but luckily I had a second attempt. This is a much more refined shot utilizing that pebble dash wall on the right hand side to actually fully hide that other van this time. But not only that, it pleasingly cuts through the background house as well. Plus the front angle of this disheveled van gives me a much better look at the sorry state of it, that's for sure. And as I've said about 75,000 times on my channel, if you can do a full 360 rotation around a subject or a location, then always make sure you do it, because just taking one frame from one angle and then walking off means you might be missing out on a much better angle that's more interesting, much like this van in my opinion. There's not much kicking off here because it's like an active port. You can't go along the pier or anything, but you're free to obviously walk along the coastline. And it still amazes me that after all the many years I've spent rambling up and down the Northumberland coastline, there's still tiny little patches that I've never walked along before, and I'm kind of trying to cover those as best as I can while I do this little project. You never know what you're going to find at these places, and oftentimes the little patches that aren't that photogenic on paper yield some of the most interesting frames, I feel. So, well, it's the first fail of the day because I assumed I could walk along the top there, but it's all gated off. But I might take a frame here of the side of this bank and then just the industrial port structures just popping out the top of the grass, because I think that's a nice juxtaposition. So as mentioned in the footage there, the contrast between the land here and the extremely boxy looking buildings just poking up from the land is what made me want to take this image. The minimal look was very intentional, loads of negative space in the top half, but seeing the result of this image, I definitely thought a wider frame was worth experimenting with. Let's go play stepping stones for a moment. That's better. Definitely make the wide better anyway. Getting further back here made a huge difference in my opinion. The inclusion of all the rocks in the foreground plus a bit of that water and beach gives a ton of context for the area. Not that you always need surrounding context, but showing the natural environment completely surrounding the buildings, I feel massively doubles down on that contrast between the two. Plus the rock beach, rock sky layout really nicely divides the image up in my eyes. A quick note as well, you'll probably notice from the video footage, and if you haven't noticed, I'm pointing that out for you here now anyway, that the sky is not completely washed out, it's not completely grey or white like it looks like in the finished stylized versions of the images throughout this video. And there's two ways I'm achieving that. I'm overexposing a bit in camera to wash the sky out a bit, and then in post I'm just adding a bit of dehaze to that sky to further dive into that stylistic element. And this is something I'm doing on pretty much all the images for this collection of work. What I will say though, and this goes for all images I take in any YouTube video that I ever upload, is that I'm always going back and forth and trying to refine styles. So images that I share in videos are almost never the final version. They always get a second or a third look, especially if I go ahead and print it. It's probably going to have 4 or 5 different versions of the finished image. So this may seem like a bit of a strange or silly or pointless photo to take, but when I'm building a project or trying to build a project, I'm always thinking about a double page layout. At least from like really great projects I look through, or really aesthetically pleasing projects, you almost always have this combination throughout books. Well, not always, but a lot of the ones that I really like, you have this combination of, say, like a really powerful image that says a lot, that's got really strong subject matter, what have you. And then on the next slide, you've just got like this super nice abstract detail shot. It gives you this sense of the environment that you're shooting and documenting over a period of time. It's going to be tight, there'll be nothing else. We'll go at 50mm. Try and get some interesting patterns. So here's a nice example of that pairing strategy, and the added bonus is if I just pick another image at random from another day shooting for this project and place it in here, we open this world of possibilities to sequence and pair images with these detail shots. They don't always have to go next to images from the exact same place and time, so it's great to always build them up because you never know when you might really like using them in your work. Here's another quick detail I shot, nothing special and pretty self-explanatory. I went on a little hunt for a singular brighter stone amongst a lot of the darker ones. So after that I went for a little bit of a stroll along the cliff edge where there's this small residential housing estate that sits really close to the cliff front, and this particular area is absolutely perfect for what I'm looking for at the minute when it comes to this collection of images. I believe this small residential estate that sits on the cliff edge here was built by the Northeastern Railway to house dockers and train workers, and apparently these street names are named after influential people in the Northeastern Railway's heritage or history. This is an image that's growing on me slowly. The triangle repetition is strong here, and unlike the last shot, I knew I wanted to get a frame that included the tracks running past the houses too. This was definitely a find some order in the chaos type of photograph, having the stop sign in the middle of these 2 posts, but also keeping it from overlapping the house in the background in an unpleasing way was more of a challenge than it looks actually. Then following on with the kind of train track theme, I guess, I then wandered down a little bit and found this small little bridge that the train runs over, and we have this underpass that people can walk through, and it's completely surrounded by greenery, which again, concrete and greenery, a combination I could shoot until the end of time. The deep shadow under the little bridge was the cherry on top for me for some well needed darker pixels in the frame. Alright, so this next image coming up for the morning is definitely one of my favorites, but I would also say it's one of those images that for people that just love grand, really over the top, beautiful and dramatic images of pure landscapes or pure nature, they're probably going to look at this and think, why on earth would somebody want to point their camera at that? And I think this is very much the goal and direction that's been developing for this collection of work. It's not about capturing the Northumberland coastline in all its epic glory and making it look truly immense or dramatic. It's about just capturing the small and simple reality of it and what it's typically like for me just to go for a walk here as well. But anyway, to save me rambling on, the leading path is what caught my eye at first here. I then noticed you can still see those big port buildings from earlier in the distance, which is great. It was then just a case of framing so that this lamppost went through the middle of the 2 windows, and this second pole behind it cut through the middle of the window, which is, you know, quite nitpicky, but I think these things make the world of difference. And for a cheeky Easter egg, that's actually my car there in the frame. This is actually a weird little theme that's kind of developed over the last few years without me meaning to, of course, because when I park my car, I just park it somewhere that's safe and not in anyone's way and don't think of anything of it. And then a lot of times it actually ends up either being in the way or in the back of a photograph of mine. In this instance, I actually quite like it. I feel like it's a funny Easter egg, like I say, but yeah, maybe I should be more mindful in future of where I park the car, but here we are. So I was just driving along to get to a new spot, and along the road I kind of saw this photo emerging in my head, and I don't know whether it really works, but I quickly pulled the car over, so I'm going to go shoot it. There's essentially this train gate crosses the road, where the road crosses the train line. There's a house off down the track and a few poles and stuff, and a big sign with some arrows on. So I'm going to quickly jump out of the car here, take a photo of it, see what happens. Might work, might not, but... So I don't feel this image really does what I wanted it to do. It's okay, I guess, but the scene definitely looked far cooler approaching it as a driver than it did through the camera. But I do quite like this alt shot a lot, especially with the leaves just growing over the arrow sign there. A nice little overgrown element again, and simply the sign stuck out to me here. I love signs, so that's the reason I took the photograph, and that added element of the overgrown leaves just kind of doubled down and made me want to take that photo even more. Some of you may, or I guess may not, remember this boat from a previous episode when I've been shooting these black and white images. Last time I was here, I was kind of like, does this belong to one of the fishermen that are on the beach? What's going on? This time I've noticed there's a giant hole in the bottom of it. I'm almost certain that wasn't there last time, but maybe it was and I wasn't paying enough attention. But I've come back to it to try and get another shot. Wasn't 100% on the ones I took last time, so a second take I think for this. In front of us here we have this big slab of concrete that obviously has an anchor that would have tied boats up. Don't know if it's ever gets used now, but I'm thinking of including that, so let's give it a shot. With this image, I feel the addition of this in the foreground does add a lot of interest, but I'm not sure if it's just a bit too distracting or obtrusive on the overall frame. Maybe you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments and sway my opinion. As mentioned, this is a second look at an image I've taken before, but I'd say this version just as a whole is a lot more refined. It's a much closer frame than I shot previously, giving us a much nicer look at that boat. And I personally always love it when the side of an image is filled by something like a grassy bank, just kind of filling that area up, but without taking too much attention away from the main subject. All right, let's maybe try and get another angle. Last time I was here taking photos of this boat, I actually didn't take a photograph of it from any other angles, as the sun's position on that day was rendering the rest of the boat into deep shadow. But today it was slightly nicely lit with diffuse cloudy light, so definitely wanted a second angle. And to be honest, as simple as this frame is, I do actually really like it. You'll see me swing round here and then kind of fire a shot off in pure reaction to this lovely scene that was unfolding in front of me. And honestly, not much thought went into this frame whatsoever, other than turning around and seeing a moment that I liked and then pulling the trigger. But what I will say is, because in the back of my head I know the goal and I know the sort of direction I want these images to go in for this collection of work, it kind of makes reacting to scenes when they do happen in a split second very easy to react to without thinking, because again, it's not as if I'm setting up for 2 hours waiting for the perfect sunrise and for birds to fly in front of an epic castle or anything like that. It's just these images that are straight up reality at that time. Just this guy and their kid, I assume, going for a walk. And when I spot that, it's very easy to react to it because I know the exact goal. Starting to wrap up the quick hour or two now, I took a slow stroll along the beach back towards my car, and honestly, I've never seen as many fishermen as I have on this morning all lined up along the front of the beach. I debated shooting a really wide frame to show that, but I felt the fishermen just became like little dots in the frame when I did go that wide. So instead, I decided to incorporate the old rule of 3 and just line this trio up symmetrically across the frame. There was also a bike sitting all alone on the sand, and again, if you're familiar with my videos and photos, you'll know I love nothing more than a random temporary object or subject just sitting around in quite open space. My original thought was to just frame it with complete emptiness surrounding it, but given there were a few birds hanging around, why not? So this is the type of image or type of moment I feel where I actually really benefit from not having the grids turned on my camera. And I don't always have them turned off, but now and again I go out and I turn them off because I want to take photos sometimes that are not subconsciously dictated by having those grids on, because I do think there's a tendency when you have the grids on, the rule of thirds or whatever you like to use, to instantly frame something on that grid and be dictated by it. It's that level horizon straight through the middle, top being negative space, bottom being the detail. Jobs are good and I didn't have to be dictated by the grids. So if you've never gone out without the grid lines turned off on your camera, give it a go and you might actually notice you frame images a lot differently and potentially more pleasingly when you have them turned off. Last two images for the outing then, I of course had to try and implement that bike with the fisherman. I'm almost certain that bike belongs to one of them anyway, so I feel it's quite a nice combination. There was a really nice ripple texture down here in the sand too, which again made me want to just split this frame in two halves, having texture on the bottom half and negative space on the top. And then last but not least, I don't know if these are the same birds from the bike picture or not, but let's pretend I'm an observant enough photographer that I actually watched those birds out of the side of my eye and followed them around and then noticed that they were going to stand in front of this fisherman, but that was not the case. This was another reaction to the moment type of photograph. All I really did was hold off on the shutter button for a little bit until those birds were in the most pleasing possible position, but they were very much already there and the photo kind of set itself up for me. So the keepers, let's first define what keepers are in this instance for me and this collection of work. A keeper in this instance is something that I simply feel could definitely become part of the final collection of work, but I don't know for sure because of course our opinion of images change over time. So in 6 months or a year or however long I do this project for, I could look back at them and they could slightly get demoted. But as of right now, I feel like they're very strong contenders to be in the final collection. Of course, there's a chance as well that some of the ones that I'm saying on keepers get promoted into the keepers. But as of right now, this is how I feel. And out of the 20 frames, I would say we've got 5 keepers in total. Number 1 being the clapped out van and then the wide port shot, the path and the houses, this image of the boat and the bike and the fisherman. I'd also say this particular image is a very strong maybe, and then I'll also give an honorable mention to the detail shot of the rocks because as mentioned that may become a pair or something like that in the future, but I can't really class that as a main prominent image. As for the 20 photos series here on my YouTube channel, I've got all of the other episodes in a playlist linked in the description. And if you want to keep seeing these 20 photos videos, then please leave a comment saying, Greg, keep making them, please make more 20 photos videos. And I will prioritize them because if I know it's what people want to see, I can go ahead and just make more of them. But I do like to mix things up here on my channel. But with that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.